Well, just so you know, I've lived in the Bay Area my entire life. I was born overseas. My dad was in the Army, but we moved over here when I was very young, and I've lived in Antioch, Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek, Concord. Graduated from Northgate High in Walnut Creek. Did my college work in Arizona. I got a degree in business administration from the University of Arizona and a degree in civil engineering from Northern Arizona. I've done a variety of background. Been for a while, I was a long haul owner operator, drove a truck all across the United States. I have also worked in geotechnical and the transportation industry. Moved to Dublin in 1994. Been here ever since. And I've lived on both sides of town. Moved over here to Dublin Ranch in 01 when it was just getting going, and really enjoy it here. I have a wife and a daughter. My daughter is in now 21 and wrapping up her time in college. Hobbies include working on cars and skiing. Basically righting the wrongs of the past. There's been a lot of bad decisions made, and some things that have put us basically in a hole right now. And some of the good things that have happened is the biggest one is finally getting a high school on the east side of town. That was my number one goal when I got on the board in 2016, and it's remained my number one goal. We still have a ways to go with that. We made sure that we attract the best staff. We were one of the top paid top school districts for how much we compensate our staff, and we attract the best. And probably the other thing is greater accountability. I've brought to light some of our accounting practices and all that haven't been the best. We just had an outside audit done, and it agreed with that. They did make several recommendations, but a bunch of those were already in place. This dates back over 20 years, a couple of the issues. But in the time I've been there, we've really tightened that up, and I'm quite happy with the way the district right now is headed. Okay. Well, obviously, number one is to complete Emerald High School. We still have a long ways to go. We had an environmental document that we showed the neighbors around there that it doesn't have enough places to park. Once it has all of the students in place, they were told there would be a garage to park. That definitely has to be built. But even before that, we have to complete phase 2 and complete the school. So the top priority is phase 2 of the school. And then getting it done. Phase 3, we have to come up with some creative ways of doing that, perhaps another bond. But we got to be very careful on how the bond is worded, so people, we've had a bunch of bonds now to build a high school, and we still haven't built the thing. So we need to make sure that this one is done right. Second priority is the overcrowding at Fallon Middle School. We need to come up with ways to solve that. It is a big issue. We're going to have over 1,600 students in the school built for 1,200. And it's one of our biggest problems. And third is probably to keep attracting the top staff that we have now. Well, that was kind of the same as the last question, but our biggest challenge right now is the overcrowding at Fallon Middle School, the fact that the Cottonwood Creek curriculum and program are not as good as they are at some of the other schools, and we have to correct that. And we have once the Emerald High opens, we have a tremendous amount of excess capacity at Dublin High School. We're going to have 1,600 students at a school built to hold twice that, because we built the engineering and science building that obviously we should have never built. So we have to come up with creative ways to solve that. And what I'm thinking about doing is taking some of our outer things that are non-educational related and possibly moving those into Dublin High, such as the district office. Oh, well, that's out of left field. I think they're really good. Not every student we have wants to go into the traditional, go to college and get a job through college. In fact, some of the biggest growth here coming down the road is in the trades, and a lot of people like working with their hands. They like being out and about, and trades are a great job. In our mission statement years ago, we used to say that one of the things the district wants to do is prepare our students to succeed in either college, the trades, or the military, depending on what their choice is for career. And I still believe all of that is true. I think the trades are an excellent way to have a good, rewarding career. Well, first of all, Dublin is a great place to work. You're not in a high crime area. A lot of our teachers live in the Central Valley. It's a little shorter drive than going to some of the districts that are closer around the bay. So we have that as an advantage. We also pay very well. We're one of the top compensating districts. I believe I mentioned that earlier. And we've given generous increases, at least in my time on the board. Last year was an 8% raise. The year before was a little over half of that, and it's been about that every year going back for the last several years. So we want to make sure we attract the best and we retain the best, and we want to reward the best. We made sure when we hired the new superintendent that staff retention and staff increasing, because we knew we had new schools coming online, was one of his best skills. Yeah, well, that's really easy to do. As was pointed out in the recent audit that anybody can go look, was presented to the board, I believe, the later part of August, is we traditionally have not estimated our projects correctly. We estimate based on what we want them to cost, and so that we can do other projects. So they're artificially made low. For instance, the high school, in August of 2017, the first phase will only cost $100 million, including the land. that was not based on any reality except for the fact that that number would allow some of the other projects to be built. And the other East Side trustee at the time, Joe Giannini, and I said that doesn't make any sense. We know it's going to cost at least double that, if not more. So we voted no on it, and that was in all of the newspapers and all. And if we're going to build the first phase of the high school, allocate enough money for it. And those kind of decisions have happened all along. It's a fact of a lack of estimating, and we have got better. One of the things I've been very much insisting upon. Same thing happened recently at Murray, not recently, but before there was a little changing of the guard at the board level. Murray was underestimated with the idea that we'll just, when it's underway, we'll come back and get more money later. And we can't keep doing that in all these projects, because we have to have a plan. We have to stick with our plan. And like in that particular case, I voted no on doing it. Said we've got to rescope the project to fit within the budget we approved. So it's those kind of choices, those hard choices, is why I think a very small segment of the staff is wanting to make a change at the board level and go with someone that may not make those hard choices. Right now, because we put a lot of new capacity in the West at Murray and at Frederickson, and especially at Murray, the overcrowding is more of an Eastern problem right now. Once those other projects are completed, and at the elementary level, if you look at our new projections, it's really not too bad. We're showing that we can just about fit all the students into the existing schools. But at the middle school level, we've got a big problem. We have, we're going to have over 1,600, more than that actually, as the years go by. A school built for 1,200. That's unacceptable. We need to deal with that. And we need, to me, the only workable solution, well, there's only two workable solutions. One is build another middle school and try to fast track that. That'll take a bond to do that. Or two, we look at changing the grade level to K through 6. And if we do a K through 6 change, then we gain all the extra capacity at Cottonwood Creek to handle the extra grade. And then Fallon, of course, would shrink down to 1,200, because you'd have about 600 students. There's about 600 students in each of our grades in the eastern part of the town. So you'd have only 2 grades, so you'd be back down to the 1,200 capacity. Long term, or at least short term, that would be the best way to go. And it will solve some of the other problems at Cottonwood Creek, because they have their share of problems by having a sub-size middle school program over there. So short term, I think that's the answer, but the long-term solution is to definitely build another middle school. Right. Well, thank you. I've been hearing from them, ever since we opened. That school did not open well. There's no doubt about it. The school was not ready. We should, but because of our huge capacity problems, we almost had to open it when it was, even though it wasn't complete, and that was not good for our students that worked there. It wasn't good for our staff that worked there. It was a big problem. We didn't have all of the address system testing done. We didn't have all of the up items done. It took probably 8 or 9 months until the school was actually done and the contractors were totally out of the way. And then since then, because of a mistake done by another board, which actually my opponent was part of, the decision was made to build a K-8 school without a gymnasium. And that's led to all kinds of problems. You do have to have physical ed at the middle school level. And that is a problem when you don't have a gym. You can't handle the inside sports. You don't have anything to do when it's raining. It's a big problem. The multi-use room that's there is needed for the elementary program, and then the middle school program has to take it over. It's a big problem. The other big issue there, of course, is the lack of electives. You only have 300 plus middle school students for grades 6, 7, and 8. And you can't the elective choices. And because we don't have complete staffing, you can't really do everything you need to. You can't, get all of the different language choices. Some of our other schools have Spanish and Mandarin and other choices for languages and the art programs and everything else that all of our students should have an equal chance to be exposed to. And it's been horrible for the students and the parents over there, because are they going to get a gym or they're not going to get a gym? There was a survey done of all the parents that said, we want a grade level reconfiguration and turn this school into all elementary. And then the district did one and had a completely opposite results. And I think there may have been some problems with the methodology employed. I'm not sure. But the people I've talked to definitely want to switch the grade level and make it a complete elementary school. Then all the students that are going to Emerald High would all be in the same place. They're all going to Fallon Middle School. They're in the same grades, and they just go right from Fallon Middle School to Emerald. At least for a short term, I think that is by far the best way to do it. And if I get reelected, that's what I'm going to propose we look at. But I'm going to probably do another survey with the students and the parents out there and find out, we've gone back and forth so many times and nothing's getting done. I understand that. If they really all say at this point, we just want the gym and move on, and we'll handle the fact we don't have elective choices, then I'll try to expedite building the gym as much as possible. It's already underway, but it's not in the location they wanted it. It's taking up blacktop space. And to me, a better choice for all would be to reconfigure the grade levels. I love being around the people. I love being able to help everybody out and get the buildings built, make sure we're hiring the best staff, that, our students in Dublin get the best chance they possibly can in life. And also, I like the fact that we're finally righting the wrongs of the last 20 years, where a lot of horrible choices were made to decide not to have an East Side High School, to then build a building at Dublin High, the new engineering and science building, for $32 million that will never, ever be needed once Emerald gets built, because all the growth is on this side. Just poor choices made by past boards that I'm glad that we can try to get all of these things fixed. Well, quite honestly, it's when some of the staff, especially recently, make stuff up to make certain board members look bad. This whole nonsense about texting and all breaking the Brown Act, and the fact that we were conspiring behind the scenes. It's all a bunch of nonsense, and everybody knew it. And the things said about some of my other board members, when Catherine Quo was on the board, just some of the really mean things some of our own staff would stand up and say were just hideous as far as I'm concerned, and totally uncalled for. And I think part of it is because a labor union is involved, and that's one of the things they think is the best thing they should be doing. But I think it was, sometimes it's totally uncalled for. I can, they can call me names all day, and it's not going to really affect me. But there are others that take that stuff deeply, and I think that is wrong. Oh, dogs. Kelly's Heroes from 1970. Of all time, either Franz Klammer, the skier from Austria, or Richard Petty, the NASCAR driver. Of ones that are active, probably Martin Truex Jr., the NASCAR driver. Oh, I love the sense of community. I like the fact that everybody's involved. Even just having this right here is the community gets out there. They care about what's happening. They care about the schools. They care about the town. They care about the parks. I came from Walnut Creek before this, and it's not that way at all. People are very closed down and just worry about themselves. So it is an entirely different environment being out here. But that was a long time ago. As Walnut Creek, I moved from back in 2004, but I'm sorry, 1994. Well, thank you. I think the big thing that we need to do is continue the improvements we made over the last several years of trying to right the wrongs of the past. My opponent was on an older board, proved Cottonwood without a gem, didn't prove Measure H with knowing perfectly well that it couldn't possibly cover all the things that it was supposed to do. We all knew the first phase of Emerald High would be 200 million plus, and Measure H was only for 283 million. So obviously, either heads were in the sand, or there was something else going on. But we're getting that fixed, and it's taken a while. And I'd like to see this through. We have a long ways to go on the high school. We have the phase 2 coming up, and we need to do phase 3 before it's complete. We have to fix the overcrowding problem at Fallon Middle School. We have to fix the issues at Cottonwood Creek. We have to keep and retain the best staff. And then we have to do that in a way that doesn't bankrupt the district. We got to look long-term and and make sure that what we're doing will keep the district afloat. Some of the districts around us have not done that. Mount Diablo, I hear, is broke, just up here to the north. Oakland went broke a couple years ago. Unless you have people that are looking out for the long term, you're going to have issues. And I don't want to tout my own horn, but I've been on the board now for a while, and I know what has to be done. So I think it's in the voters' best interest to let me continue the job that I've already started.